So, welcome to my first time using a knitting machine. I've been knitting for 5 years and I was like, knitting machines are not knitting, like the big mechanical ones, but I got the Sentro Mini and it came a while ago, but I've been waiting to open it for like the right moment for videoing it because I wanted to get my genuine reaction on film. So let's go. My mum bought me this, not me. We got down a big rabbit hole about knitting socks on machines. I had heard of the big ones before, but that seemed too expensive. But this is a children's toy. But it does knitting. It cost £24. And how can you not? Because it's like a fun price, it's a fun thing to test. So let's open it. The font is so childish. Magic loop loom, more than a toy. Oh, it's a lot bigger than I thought. Get some yarn with it too. That's so cute. It's massive. It looks tiny on YouTube videos. And it's also rabbit. So this machine is knitting in the round, but it also has a switch on the side for knitting flat panels. I can't get over how cute it is. You get the crochet hook, and that is to pick out the stitches when you're finished. I need to add this, which is the tension. Get a little sewing needle, which is also very cute, and little sticky pads so it doesn't move about. So let's go. It's a lot heavier than I thought as well. I thought it'd be really light because, you know, it is a toy. It's so funny though because people who knit do not see this as a toy, which is one of the reasons why I also really wanted one, because I knew it wasn't like a joke. It's an actual thing you can make actual things with. In my head I thought it was like this, small, substantial. Oh wow, that really works. It doesn't slide at all. It also sounds very nice. Clunky, but in a good way. So I'm going to use the yarn I got with it. I'm just going to cast on and just knit so I can get an idea of what the machine's actually like. I'm not going to do a pattern. I'm just wanting to use a machine in this my first time using it. So cute. So this is a yarn. It's nothing fancy, but you know, it doesn't matter because you're not going to be excellent your first time on the machine, and it is a toy, like a kid's toy, so it's like the perfect yarn, and it is quite soft. It's quite good. If you're watching this and thinking it's a tutorial, it is not. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I found this super simple tutorial that I'm going to follow. A rabbit yarn bowl. Matchy matchy. I've just done 5 rows. Mad. Also, yes, that is my cat's advent calendar. I haven't taken it down yet and it's still got sweets in. She's 9 years old, but she's like the size of a kitten, so she can't eat a lot of food. Sneak peek. Oh, my tension's a bit loose. I think I'm going to put it on the first one. I put it on the last one because I watched a YouTube tutorial and the guy said put the last one, but it's way too loose. Look how loose. I can't believe how fast it is. It does move quite a bit, but for 24 quid you can't complain. That's the sun setting. I can already tell from the back of this work that is a much better tension. Look at that, that is knitting. So when you're knitting around, it's stockinette, so it's knit one, purl one, so that's a little triangle. This is the back of the work or the inside of the work if you're knitting around. So it's like garter stitch, the little bumps. And down below there, you can see the holes. That's when the tension was too loose. So compared to hand knitting, I think it'll be quite tricky to kind of get the hang of tension. But after a while, I get to know what kind of yarns work and what kind of yarns don't work. And it's like a sewing machine. Once you know the tension, you just don't move the tension. Well, I don't anyway. Let's just have another, oh yes, that's a good shot. Knitting. So this is it. I haven't actually shown it close up. I got this yarn ball for Christmas. It was only such a happy accident that it matches this. So I'm quite glad I persisted with it because I feel happy now. It's sorted. The cast on is really easy. You just go over and under the little knights. I call them knights because they look like knights in chess. It's definitely not knitting though, if you know what I mean. I don't feel like I'm knitting. It's quite weird. Because people always say knitting machines are cheating, but like, does that mean sewing machines are cheating? Makes no sense. If you're not able to knit because of your hands or anything, like a machine is perfect, and I'm quite happy they exist for that reason. And I'm quite happy this £24 one exists for me to stress out. Actually, no, I feel loads better now. I should probably cast off, but I'm just going to finish the whole ball of this yarn, which is actually almost gone. It's so fast. I just want to see what it looks like a fully knitted piece, what it looks like before I do a pattern. This isn't even time-lapsed. Welcome back. There is a lot of footage missing. My microphone died, and then I got new batteries. I press record on the microphone, I forgot to press record on the camera. And then I made mistakes with this. I cast on wrong. I'm used to doing long tail cast on, and I had a big long thread that was just wrapping around the entire machine. The more I do YouTube, the more I film and edit myself, the more I realise I make a lot of mistakes, but that's okay, apparently, because it's just a learning process. Like, this is a children's toy, which makes it a bit more embarrassing. But the bunny ears make it okay, like it's cute to look at, so let's just start again fresh, okay? There is something else. I'm okay sitting talking to the camera, but as soon as like I do close-ups of me doing anything, I get nervous because you're just watching me. This is not a tutorial. I'm just gonna be me and do my best to like work out how to figure this machine out. I was really excited when I got it. I'm so excited now. And when I was pulling the work out before, even though I'd got that big thread on, it was knitted. It was looking really good. I'm just checking I've got that on a tube, not a panel, because this has not gone great so far. Anyway, let's just start again. I wish this was something a bit stronger. There is one benefit, the sun's setting later, so I've got a lot more light and a lot more time to film my mistakes. But hopefully that weird warm-up was all I needed to kind of get it done. It is a nice machine. It looks like a toy and it looks rubbish, but it's very sturdy, like very well made, like it's a good toy. If it wasn't for the rabbit bunny ears, I would honestly give up and start again tomorrow. Look at this. That is knitting. That is very neat knitting. With a bit of blocking, that would be lovely. This is where the tension was too loose, and you can't tell because I've cinched it now, but it was really like holy. And this is where I start the tension out. In the tutorial I watched, the guy said you need to have it on loose tension because that's what the knitting machine likes. The problem with YouTube tutorials is there's so many people saying so many different things about one thing, and it's like, whose advice do you follow? It's just, it's just a bit, ugh. So tonight I'm going to find a very good tutorial. I probably have to go through loads, but it's worth it because I really want to use this machine properly. This was going to be a short video of me saying, look what I made. But obviously, look what I made. It's a tube, it's a mess. I didn't cast off properly. So I'm going to go for a walk and come back later and have a proper go. I'm going to use the next ball of yarn I got with it, and then I'm going to attempt to use my own yarn and have a proper go. I did have a proper go. I followed the instructions on the paper, but the instructions for this are awful. Yeah. I just want to apologise if you're expecting something better than this, but it's me. I make mistakes. That's what happens on this channel. But I keep going, I keep persisting, and I'll get it in the end. So I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to come back, I'm going to hunker down and actually make something. I want to show you that this machine is good because although it's been stressful, I can see the benefits of it. I cast on correctly. I just didn't cast off properly. By this point, I didn't want to go through loads of tutorials. I just wanted the thing off so I could see the knitting. I've gone for a walk and that was all I needed. I came back and I found an excellent tutorial. The one I watched before that the guy was just pulling off when he was casting off, that's where I went wrong. This video, you pick up the stitches and then you unhook them off the needles. That was not in the first tutorial I watched. And I didn't spend hours and hours hunting for a tutorial. I looked for the big Sentro, which has a lot more tutorials, and just copied that, but made it obviously smaller. So, it looks like the old blue tube still, but you need to finish it off. So, if it was a hat, or a headband, or say a sock, you could do a tube sock. That's why I bought it. I've just remembered, it's all come flooding back. The excitement, the happiness. So if you were doing a sock, you would just cinch that. Beanie sock, or any, say a sleeve for a baby. This is obviously, I just bought this because I wanted socks, like DK socks. I'm going to see later what it's like with normal sock yarn, but I think it might be a bit too big. The needle might be too big. Anyway, so this is how it comes off. And before I was like, I've done it wrong. But I've done it right. You sew them together, sew these two sides together, and you sort it. It looks really messy, but that's how it's supposed to look. I wish I'd known that before I started. Like I say, the instruction booklet was awful. Like, it did not instruct me. But now I'm sorted. I'm going to have a good night, I think. It's Friday, so I'm going to get myself a beer and I'm going to knit myself some DK socks. I'm going to use this yarn and I'm going to do basic tube socks on tight tension. I think I'm going to use tight tension all the time. And then once I'm finished, I'm going to obviously cinch the bottom and do a back post, front post crochet. So that is the same as knit two, purl two and knitting. It creates a stretchy ribbing. Although, usually when you do stockinette stitch, it's not stretchy, but for some reason on this knitting machine, it's really stretchy. So you could get away with just like doing a nice border around it. I can't believe it. This took me like 10 minutes from coming in, finding a tutorial, casting on, casting off. Oh well. And the light stayed. So it's turned out a good day in the end. I was getting on my walk, I was like, what a waste of a day, but it's turned out well. So we're a few weeks in and not a fan. Honestly, I haven't used it that much, which isn't great YouTube research, but every time I pick it up, I'm like, ugh. I do appreciate how fast it knits, like I really appreciate that. I'm just not a fan. Like the other night I did some knitting on this and then I did some hand knitting afterwards and I was like, wow, I like hand knitting so much better. With hand knitting as well, like the bigger the piece gets, the nicer it feels in your hands to work with. You don't get that with the knitting machine. My favourite thing that I'll give it 5 stars for is I do appreciate how fast it knits and it's such neat knitting. I'm going to publish this video, but I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to keep trying different things out and I really want to try the flat knitting. You can tell I don't like it because I haven't even tried flat knitting on it yet. I look at the machine, I look at my needles, I'm like, yeah, I'll choose needles. So I really want to try some flat knitting on it. I want to like just get some scraps of my yarn and just knit random squares and sew them into like a scrappy throw over cardigan jumper type thing, because the benefit of the machine is you can experiment and you can, if things go terribly wrong, it's okay because it's taken like half an hour to knit something this big. Whereas with hand knitting, you would just feel so sad if it went wrong. So I guess I do like it after I've talked about it. It's a lot faster, you can experiment more. Another thing as well, it feels really like delicate. I feel like every time I turn the handle, it's gonna break. Not with DK yarn, but with DK yarn, it doesn't, it's a bit thin. The yarn is like, once you put it on yourself, it's like see-through, it's like really, the knitting is really stretched out with DK yarn. The one I found best it works with is like Aran yarn. I tried chunky yarn, it did not like that. The one it works best with is Aran yarn. So from the previous clip, I did finish the sock. I didn't actually finish it, I just finished knitting on the machine, because this is what I was on about. So I'm not going to put it on my feet because that's a whole nother genre of the internet. So when you put it on, it's really, you can see through it basically, it really stretches out the knitting. That took like half an hour though. That would take so much time in actual hand knitting. So I am going to, I think with this machine, I'm just going to stick with Aran yarn because that is the one it likes the best. So I made this, but I really want to pull it out because the thing with the knitting machine is you have to pay attention. It drops stitches quite often. So on the internet and things, people are just like, which isn't reality. You have to kind of you sit and watch it. So it's fast, but you have to also pay attention to it. The thing is though, I can't pull this yarn out because I did try to and it does not like being pulled out. This is what I'm on about with how neat it is. Look at that. That is just so neat. So I made this weird tube scarf thing. So this has a big mistake in it. I do feel like over time, and even looking at the camera now, it looks really nice. Over time, I don't think I'm going to notice a mistake, and I think if I block it, I can kind of make it work. This is like really expensive, well, £4 a ball, which is quite expensive in my book. So this was quite an expensive scarf, and because it doesn't like being pulled out, I'm going to have to make it work because I do love the colours. And I'm going to add some pom-poms on the end of it. So this one will have a pink pom-pom, and then this one will have a yellow pom-pom. I do like this. It's weird because it's knit in the round. If I did flat, it would have worked. It would be a lot wider, but the thing with, I've seen people make things on the machine where it's flat knitting, it's very, very curly. So people don't add a border. It's like, how can you live with curly knitting? So when I'm doing my flat panels for my cardigan, I'm going to block them and maybe incorporate a single crochet border around to make it a nice flat square, because I cannot stand curled knitting. So I'll show you the mistake. So inside this bit here, there is just a bunch of knitting because it dropped a lot of stitches, and I didn't realise, because like I say, I wasn't paying attention. I was like watching telly. So I just shoved it in and made it work. And also here, there was some drop stitches, but I did notice them ones. But that's the thing that makes you want to not wear this, but that is just such a little mistake, which I think does not matter. And if I style it properly in the mirror, I'll be able to like hide the mistakes. It's only 2 mistakes, which is not bad. And this bit's always at the back. So yeah, there we go. You can't see any mistakes. And with 2 little pom-poms there, I think it's gonna look really cute. I just prefer hand knitting so much that every time I want to knit, I will go straight to the needles, which I have been doing. So I think I need to kind of, for the next few weeks, just do the knitting machine because I think it is worth it. There are patterns out there, kind of, on YouTube. I do think I just have to stick to Aran yarn. I think for the scrappy cardigan jumper, whatever it's going to be, it could be anything. I think I'm going to use my DK yarn because I think with something like that, it would look really nice with like little, like it would look nice kind of stretched because it could be like a nice throw over in summer over a dress. And I don't want a chunky thing in summer, so I think something with like, it's kind of cheeky. It's kind of like lace knitting, but cheating using the machine and DK yarn. I don't think anything below DK yarn would work on this machine, but I will try. Work on this the next few weeks, and then I'll make a new video and let you know how it's gone on, because this video has kind of been a bit of a mess. I haven't really tried properly. I do like my first original reaction where I was happy with it because it is so cute. So I was going to come on here and give it a 3 out of 5 stars, but I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Only 4, not 5, because it's like it drops stitches every now and then. Maybe that's just me not paying attention. Maybe we should give it 5 out of 5 stars. Alright, let's give it 4.5 stars out of 5, because it's so fast and the knitting is so neat. I really can't wait to start my like scrappy cardigan thing. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. I would if you're thinking of getting one, I would definitely get one and try with this £20 one first rather than going for the big one, because you might not like it. It's still taking me ages to adjust. I keep looking at it and thinking, oh no, I feel bad because I've been leaving it alone. So I'm going to ignore my hand knitting for a while and focus on my machine knitting. So yes, that's actually not the end. of my knitting machine journey. But it's the end of this part. I guess this is part 1. So part 2 will be me actually working on the machine and actually producing more than 2 things. The first thing wasn't even a thing because I didn't do the second sock or finish the border. I might pull that DK yarn out and use that as part of my scrappy cardigan thing. And I've got some grey which I might use. I mean, I was planning to have it really scrappy and colourful, but I've got loads of grey, so I think this mixed with like dark grey with like a purple border, I can already picture it in my head. That is my cardigan jumper slip over thing that I'm going to make. And yeah, 5 out of 5 stars is good because it really gives you the chance to experiment. You don't want to experiment when you're hand knitting because it does take so long. It's okay if you follow a pattern, but to make a pattern from scratch, it takes a lot of pulling out, a lot of time knitting it. So yeah, it's a fun thing that produces good knitting. It is excellent knitting. It's so neat. And the fact it does in the round and flat panels, I think it deserves 5 out of 5 stars. Yeah. Okay, so we've gone to 3, to 4, to 4.5, to 5. Yep, 5 out of 5 stars. I will see you next week. Honestly, I'll probably finish the cardigan by then because it takes so little time. So yes, thank you for watching and I will knit you later. On the machine this time though, not by hand. Bye.